Hi, Erin. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I've had a little bit of a cold over the weekend, so this isn't my normal voice, but it works.
Thank you. That's finding a time, even in this not great feelings, opportunity to speak with me. I want to record with you episode probably for a long period of time because I saw a lot of the posts from you, and I believe you're one of the industry leaders who just drive conversation across multiple aspects. And I see everywhere just like some people mentioned your name, and I have several records with people in a similar industry. The latest one with Luke from Australia.
Oh, you
I
talked to
believe
Luke
you.
Raven. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Mhm.
We managed to have these recordings even in type difference, but yeah, it's a lot of the things we're gonna be discussed. Not a lot. You already have a list of questions. Let's see where we're going with these questions. But for people who might not know you, could I ask you to introduce yourself?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here. My name is Erin West. I'm a deputy district attorney. I've been a prosecutor for 26 years, and I work in Santa Clara County, California. For the last 2 years, excuse me, for the last 8 years, I have been attached to the REACT task force. It's a high tech task force, and we focus on crimes involving cyber, internet, cryptocurrency.
That's great. And we're going to touch a lot of these things. My typical questions I ask everyone who join me on this podcast: fraud prevention. What is fraud prevention for you?
Oh gosh, for me, fraud prevention is really the key to the whole thing. Um, it's so hard to stop the fraud after it's happened and really track down the bad actors. So for me, fraud prevention is talking as often as I can with as many people as I can about the different typologies of fraud that are out there. You know, it seems like every day I get a new type of fraud coming into my mailbox, a new scam, and there's always something different. And so to me, fraud prevention is just talking about all of that and letting friends and family know what to be on the lookout for, because really we are in the middle of a scamdemic. They're coming for us.
Yeah, I believe the awareness about the fraud is like one of the common problem because it's a lot of these things happens right nowadays, and the internet, and it's spreading very quickly, and some people not even know about this one, but it's hit very hard them.
Yes, for sure.
And I believe um, it is my expectation, but the hardest part of work that you're doing right now, it is speaking with weaknesses, with victim of fraud. And I believe it's really heartbreaking most of the time when the people like describe the stories and their situation where they end up.
Absolutely. I've done all kinds of different types of cases as a prosecutor. And really, these victims are the worst off that I've ever dealt with. They are traumatized in ways I've never seen before. They have not only lost someone they trusted. I mean, that's a huge part of it is they opened themselves up and trusted someone, and they've lost that connection, but they've also lost their financial stability, because the nature of a pig butchering crime is that the crime doesn't stop until the scammers take everything from the victim. So by the time these victims get to me, they've lost everything and they've lost a person. And that's really dramatically difficult for them.
Yeah, my expectation that people, I mean, the people can recover their finances, but from the perspective of the trust, it's like probably it is not possible. I don't know how long it might takes to trust people once again, because sometimes even in a work environment, sometimes if you speak with a person and the person betrayed you, you stop to speak with this person. However, in a situation that you describe, you stop to speak with, I mean, everyone, maybe like your family, relatives, maybe
Yeah,
some of them.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that when they lose trust in this person, they sort of lose trust in everyone and everything. That if what they thought was someone so close to them could do this to them, then everybody must be out to get them. It really is, I think it's going to make a dramatic change globally in how we are able to trust people online, trust people that we meet. It's just, um, the more bad actors ruin that trust for us, the less we lose as a global community.
Do you believe this is become what in the problem because everything moved online? I, be- I believe we have the same problem before. I don't know, 20 years ago, for example, when it social network was like purely exist. It was still some cases, but it was probably rare cases because it's still real person need to be find someone.
Yeah, I think that 20 years ago, these scams were more on the phone or in mail or whatever. And now what I see on the daily is people showing up in your online life. Like, just even a recent one I saw the other day was somebody commented on a restaurant on Facebook. And then I saw the scammer reach out to my victim on Facebook and say, "Oh, I'm not familiar with that restaurant. Can you tell me more about it?" But looking at the language that the scammer used, it's the language that the scammers use all the time, and it was at the type of photo they use all the time. So it's like they're going to find new and different ways to infiltrate, and it just makes not even commenting on a restaurant safe anymore.
You mentioned that they have some common things. Can you share a couple of the things? Maybe people start to focusing on this one when they're getting these messages.
Sure. What happens normally is that if you've ever received one of those text messages on your phone that appears to be for somebody else, um, often people will say, "Oh, wrong number, sorry." And then the next thing is the scammer will say, "Oh, I'm sorry to bother you." And then they drop their picture and they say, "Oh, my name's Jessica," hoping that some lonely person will find it interesting on that afternoon to talk to Jessica. So, there's some red flags that they do. This whole, like, usually it's a picture of a young Asian female. Sometimes it's a picture of a young, maybe like, maybe white female too, not that often, but primarily Asian. But the keys are that what they do after the conversation begins is they suggest moving to WhatsApp. And the reason why they want to move to WhatsApp is because it is encrypted end to end. And so nobody's looking for them. They know that if they start a conversation with you on LinkedIn or on Facebook, the people are looking for them. These platforms know that these scammers are out there, and so they're looking for them. So they want to get off that platform and to somewhere else where they won't be as obvious. So that's another red flag. And then ultimately, they're going to show pictures of this really elevated lifestyle. They're going to show you pictures of their nice car and their fancy trips. And we should just be really wary of anyone coming into our life that wants to show us an elevated lifestyle, because the next thing they're going to say is, "Do you know how I can afford this? It's because I invest in cryptocurrency." And that's the final thing we really need to be wary of, is anybody suggesting any kind of investment that we have not met in person.
I just try to realize. I mean, if someone start to send me messages like sends their car, I mean, car is not super impressed nowadays. Like
Right.
a lot of people, yeah. But maybe the luxury holiday is going to be something more hook up me to say, oh yeah, this person can afford a Hawaii trip in a five-star hotel, and
Yes.
I am considering to go in somewhere nearby in staycation. So probably it's. But the scammers, they're doing their own homework. This is my assumption. They already know when they send messages to someone, like some information about the person, because we right now have a lot of the information online. We have some profiles of Facebook, LinkedIn, and some people using TikTok. It's so many information. So they build the picture of the victim. They already know that probably I subscribe for particular people who just like interested about traveling or about something. So it's already one part of my identity on their side, and they start conversation and drive the conversation based on their homework. Is it how it works, or I miss something?
No, you've got it really correctly. In fact, that's how they were really doing it at first, is they were very much targeting people. They were looking for Facebook groups about travel or Facebook groups about nice cars or whatever, where they thought that there would be people that had money. But I think today they're less targeted and they're more just really going after anybody. When I ask at meetings or when I present, and it'll be a room of 300 people, and I'll say, "Has anybody gotten one of these text messages?" And they all have. That's the thing, is that's how big the net is now, is they will cast it out for anybody. And really anybody with a smartphone is a target these days.
Yeah, that's a scary trend. So you mentioned they moving out to WhatsApp. What do you think about Telegram? I know it's not very popular platform for a lot of the people, and I'm not sure how it is popular in the states. However, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, my thoughts as a law enforcement professional are that Telegram is being used right now for a lot of good reasons, but it's also being used by a lot of really bad actors. And there are all kinds of Telegram groups that are spewing out really dangerous things and that are being used specifically for pig butchering, which is my focus. And so within those Telegram groups, where we're really unable to identify anybody within the group, people feel empowered to talk about a lot of different things. I will say also that um, I do appreciate that a lot of these Telegram groups, excuse me, are not private, so that I can see what they're doing. And they're talking about using AI and deep fakes and changing faces. And so it's interesting to me. But as a law enforcement professional, I always want I want more access to evidence, and Telegram does make it difficult for me to get access to that evidence.
Yeah, it's I believe one of the common problem uh, for everyone. That's if it's out of your scope and you don't have much information, it's like become the hardest point. You can't get much information. You can't find these links between people because uh, I mean, I'm using Telegram because I'm originally from Russia, and it's the best options for me to communicate to my family,
Ah,
rather than WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is partially blocked in Russia. I
oh,
know they do. Yeah, they're doing some. They try to block it before. It works very unstable. For me, it's much easier to communicate to family, friends using Telegram. And I know actually a lot of the companies in East of Europe and Russia as well, in Asia also, they're using Telegram as a work platform
yeah,
time to time, like the same as Slack. So it also impressed me that they're not afraid someone getting access to their information.
yeah,
Pretty interesting. I would love one day to speak with someone from like who developed the Telegram to
yes,
understand what's the main idea behind it, but I'm not sure it's gonna happen
right,
because it's a really small company, to be honest. Even if it's a large amount of people using this one.
yes.
So crypto, what do you think about crypto in general?
In
What's your
general,
thoughts?
sure. I think just like Telegram, I think there's a lot of good uses for crypto. I'm pro crypto. I think that crypto is an easy way to move money cheaply and fast. But I also know that there are some really bad actors using crypto to hide where their money's going. And using, particularly in pig butchering, they are preying on people's misunderstanding of crypto, or or lack of knowledge about crypto to steal their money. I think that a lot of times, the fact that people don't know much about crypto is really hampering the ability of law enforcement to do anything about it. What we're finding is that when people report cases of crypto theft to law enforcement, a lot of law enforcement is just saying right now, we don't know anything about crypto. We're not doing crypto cases, which just enables bad guys to use it. I always say crypto is how bad guys are moving money. Crypto is how bad guys are moving money. That's why, as law enforcement, we need to better understand it. I think that it's not as complicated as everyone would lead us to believe, and we don't have to be experts in technically all the weeds of how crypto operates, but we just do need to know that we can trace cryptocurrency on the blockchain. We have tools that enable us to do that. That issuing subpoenas and search warrants to cryptocurrency exchanges moves a lot quicker than reaching out to banks. That we're able to get information more quickly, and if we know how to do these investigations, do them more quickly. But the lack of familiarity is really what allows bad guys to make victims believe that there is a lot of money to be made in crypto. And so the newness of crypto works to the advantage of the scammer. The lack of law enforcement knowledge about crypto works to the advantage of the scammer. So as far as that goes, I am concerned about crypto because I don't like to see victims getting taken advantage of.
My expectation based on what happens on the crypto market nowadays, that this year it is even more cases because the crypto growing. I mean, if we look only simply on Bitcoin, who
Yeah.
growing from 40 to 70 for the past half a year and give amazing profile for people to say invest more and I help you to getting become a richest person and wealthiest person in the world. And on the top of that, knowledge of people how to work with finance in general worldwide it's pretty bad and it's going worse and worse. I had a chat with one of my newest friends who is 21 right now, and the person asked me what's my viewing about personal finance, what I need to do with my savings. And my advice was like, so we have deposits which not give you much benefits. You can buy something which is pretty hard because its price is so hard. And a reply I got instantly to say maybe I need to invest in the crypto because it scale up, it's allowing me to double my savings, and it's much more secure than putting money in the bank, because if something happens with the bank, you probably lost your money. But they not realize that someone get access to your crypto account and you lost everything in 1 second, even faster than with the bank perspective.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're familiar with SIM swapping. Are you familiar with SIM swap?
Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the cases when someone replicate getting access between your phone and an operator to getting
Yeah.
all these messages, or you're speaking about like someone using fake SMS to sending messages.
Yeah. Well, what happens in SIM swapping is that I convince AT&T to give me the traffic coming to your phone. So now I control on my device all the traffic coming to your phone. So I'm able to take over your Google account because I say forgot passwords, and then you probably have your SMS, you probably have your two-factor sent to your phone. So I do forgot password for your email address. It sends the password to your what it thinks is your phone, but I'm holding the device. So that enables me to take over your Gmail account. And after I take over your Gmail account, then I take over everything else that is attached to your phone number, including your cryptocurrency account. So when we think of the safety of our stuff that is held in crypto, anything that's attached to your phone is not very safe. And so I always, banks are backed up. Well, depending on where you're banking, but in the United States, they're backed up by the FDIC. Um, with crypto, you just don't have that, and if your stuff is gone, it's gone, and it's irreversible.
Yeah, it's I saw one of the video when a person moving from one crypto company for another and did a simple mistake in one letter and lost probably everything on blockchain because you
Ooh.
need to really consistent in what you send.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm still surprised that fraudsters not using these things to getting money to their accounts. You know, compromise access to the platform, not to getting access to particular account, but able to switch like address. When you put that address where you want to send money, you automatically
Yes.
switch to your one, and you
Uh-huh.
send it over. You're expecting they're gonna arrive, but they're never gonna arrive because they're gone.
Yeah. It's
It's
crazy.
crazy stuff.
It's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
I want to speak about your journey. Like 26 years ago, what motivated you to join fraud fighting in the first place?
Well, so 26 years ago, I joined the office of the district attorney in Santa Clara County, and so the way we progress at this office is we do a number of different assignments within the office. So I started in misdemeanors. I did all kinds of general misdemeanor crimes. Then I moved to felonies, and from there I specialized in sexual assault. So I was in sexual assault for 9 years, and then the last 8 years has been in high tech crime. And when I moved to high tech crime, I had a different idea of what it was about. So I have at that point I had two young boys, and I saw what was happening online. When I was started to be concerned about their online safety. And so I thought that this team would be about online safety, and it is, but just in a very different way than I thought. I didn't anticipate cryptocurrency. I didn't anticipate all the threats that, sextortion, everything that would come across my desk in this way. And so I've always been really victim focused. And so when I was on the sexual assault team, it was very important to me to help victims and help them navigate the criminal justice system. And now I just have a totally different type of victim. This is a victim who has really lost trust in civilization and really lost trust in people's ability to help them. And so that's where I've been for the past 8 years. And even within my 8 years at the task force, my work has changed. I described SIM swapping to you. We did a lot of that work of account takeovers and people losing all their crypto. And now for the past 2 years, I've really focused on pig butchering. And that's a whole new crime that is really sweeping the world and really devastating people worldwide.
You know, you're doing a lot of the heartbreaking stuff and probably very emotional cases. What keep you motivating to stay in this area for this period of time? Because I believe uh, the only motivation that you help people, it's a good one, but it's probably in some cases not enough when you see something really bad happens and you want to stop to do it.
Yeah, I think what's been motivating me is the idea that things could be better. That there are small things that we could do to make this better for victims, make the ecosystem safer, make the response kinder. And so that's what motivates me. I feel like, yes, I work with some really, really destroyed people, and that's a lot. But I still feel like there are things we can do to help them. The the way that they are treated when they report is not good. It's not kind. The way that law enforcement isn't quite ready yet to handle these cases. I think could be better, and we're working on that. We're training people. So I think that there's a lot to be done. If I felt like there was no hope, it would be hard for me to go forward, but I feel like there's still a lot of work to be done. And there's also a lot of people right now who are angry enough about what's happening with pig butchering that they are willing to help, and that's reassuring and refreshing.
Well, you have a very big heart. Just all what I can say in reply, because I don't know. A lot of people have a burnout nowadays, and working with really heartbreaking stuff, it's gonna be really hard. But because you're having this hope that's all this change, and I believe uh, all your work is going to be tremendously affect on the industry and the world in general, because if we just give up one day, it's going to be worse and worse, and in a couple years it's going to be huge problems that no one know what to do with this one, and
Agreed.
it's going to be very, very hard to do from that period of time. So you mentioned a lot of time pig butchering. Can you describe what it is for people who first time hear this phrase?
Sure. If you've ever received a text on your phone that appears to be for someone else, like, what time are we playing tennis tomorrow? Or can you still pick me up from the airport? Or you left your bag at my house? These are all attempts to get your attention from a scammer who is looking to pig butcher you. We know that our scammers reach out to our victims in four separate ways. One is through those text messages, but the other three are on platforms like Meta, LinkedIn, or dating apps. We know that these scammers are reaching out because they are trying to hook a victim into having a conversation with them. And from there, they want to develop this into a relationship. Pig butchering at its core is a combination romance scam slash investment scheme. And over time, that scammer is going to build a trusted relationship with a victim, while at the same time showing this really enviable, plush lifestyle. And when our victim ultimately asks about how do you afford that, our scammer will say, oh, well, I invest in cryptocurrency and I'll teach you how. That's the second part of the scam, is that now the scammer leads the victim through an investment process which shows the victim exponential that shows the victim exponential returns that the victim never anticipated before. That the victim initially will put in like $5,000, and within days it'll be $6,500, $7,200, and then $10,000. And from there, the victim will be talked into liquidating his kids' college accounts and his retirement fund. And the nature of pig butchering is such that it does not stop until the scammer has taken every last penny from the victim. And so at the end of this, our victim realizes that this was all a scam when the victim tries to get money back, and then realizes that, oh my gosh, not only is this a scam, the person I loved and trusted is the scammer. And it is absolutely mind wrenching, just absolute devastation for people.
How long it usually take since the first contact until the first investment happens?
Yeah, it varies. I would say for some it's months, for others it's weeks. I can tell you that these texting conversations become like all encompassing, and that they can go on for 4 to 5 hours a day. That there is a relationship that is forged between these two people, and depending on how eager the victim is to really make a change in their lifestyle, it can be quick or it can be longer. But generally, the whole thing is done within a matter of months.
Is it for fraudsters doing some kind of show return of investment. What I mean at the here that's for example, we start conversation after a week. They convinced me to send the first $5,000, and to show me that it works. In the 5 days, I getting back 500 USD to say this is my profit that I'm getting for a week, to give me kind of like taste of money I can get if I invest more. Or they just like mostly force you to send more and more and show you like random graphics that's your investment going up or upper.
I think you understand it perfectly. So they are showing you a graphic, they're showing you a dashboard that shows that your money's going up. But in the initial stages, they also let you take some money out so that you believe that this money is within your control. It isn't, it never was, but they allow you to believe that so that you think that this is a legitimate account.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
When I hear all this stuff, I start to less and less believe to all things that I'm right now doing. I mean, with the people and companies I'm communicate about some changes I want to do. I'm just like probably they're scammers. So how I can what I can do to make sure they're not scammers?
Oh my goodness, you've asked the right question. I think that we need to be really skeptical of everybody that comes into our life these days. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. So to make sure they're not scammers, I I would I come into a lot of there are a lot of people recently who are claiming they can get money back for victims. And I think that those are almost all scams. So when I reach out to them saying, "Hey, I think you're a scam," and they're like, "We're not a scam," what I look for is, can you connect me to someone who actually you helped? And I think if that's you, I think generally whatever business you're in, whoever you're hiring to do anything, we've really got to take references seriously these days. And we need more than one. And we need to make sure that the people we're hiring to do whatever are legit people, because there are so many scammers out there. I think we have to assume everyone is a scammer until they show us otherwise. And that's sad. And I don't like it one bit, but I think it's reality.
I got you. It's a very valuable advices, and yeah, asking probably asking a lot of the questions. It's the best advice as a conclusion here. Have you ever been a victim of fraud?
Goodness, have I been the victim of fraud? I've been compromised. When I was prosecuting SIM swappers, and I was very sassy about "we're coming for you," then they made it their business to come for me. So that was unfortunate. Um, so other than that, I have not been a victim of fraud.
That's great. I mean,
Yeah.
this is great answer. We're happy for you. We hope. I hope I'm not jinx this one, but it's not gonna happen with you because you're doing a lot of the work with people who are actually like facing this problem, and the personal problem gonna be even harder to convince to work on this one. I have the probably last one. So, if people right now who work in the fraud fighting industry, cybercrime, doesn't matter, wants to join where you're working right now and help people, what kind of skills and knowledge they need to know to start working in this industry?
Oh, I think that's great. And I think that this is an industry that is only going to be growing because we need so much help in it. So I think good fraud fighters are people who care about people, and people who I think there are two different buckets of people that are helpful to fraud fighting. One is we need empathetic people who can talk to victims and who can hear them out and help them understand that they were taken advantage of, and that this could happen to anyone. And I think the second bucket is people who are going to get out there and fight these scammers. And so for that, we need a lot of people who understand the internet and who understand cryptocurrency and who understand how to find things on the internet and who are curious people who we need people who when somebody says, oh, you can't do that, they think, I think I'm going to find a way to do that. That's what we need, because this is a new world. And one of my favorite things to say is, but what if we could, that there isn't a way to do it yet, but let's figure out a way to get it done. So those are the people that would be great at this. As far as how they get there, I think I think there are a lot of online open source crypto um, educational groups. I think that the first step is really learning and understanding the blockchain, and there's a lot of good education out there for that. And then law enforcement needs analysts, and I think that the future of this type of work will be done by analysts who understand how to connect dots, and that's a great way to get into this business.
Thank you so much. It's very important because I believe a lot of the people like really interesting to join this industry because they want to help people, but they realize they probably not don't have the right education or right knowledge. But seems like if you're really curious and you have this knowledge about like what you want to fight with, it's really good start. Probably you of course need to some a deep understanding from the law perspective. It's going to be also very useful. But what you describe is what I'm looking for from answer perspective. Be honest, I don't have any other questions. However, I'm usually give opportunity to people who come to my podcast to share any projects or any I don't know, any initiatives you right now driving and you want to let people hear about it. If you
Sure.
want to share something, this is the right time.
Thank you, Ivan. So I'm working on something called Operation Shamrock, and Operation Shamrock is a way of assembling the entire life cycle of pig butchering, that I've brought together social media, banking, exchanges, law enforcement, diplomacy, and victim services. Oh, and non-governmental organizations on the ground in Southeast Asia to really work on this together. So when you ask about, like, are there opportunities, there are plenty of people in this group that are not even employed in any of those, but are interested in figuring out where they fit in the puzzle to really shut this down. And so there's a lot of opportunity to educate and to dig around on the internet and to do graphic design or communications, or there's space for everybody on this team. And so I'm on LinkedIn and I talk a lot about this, and I'm on LinkedIn at Erin West, or you can go to at Operation Shamrock on LinkedIn. That's where we are too. And there's plenty of opportunities to get involved in the fight against pig butchering. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about that.
Yeah, for people who listen this one or watching this one, please look in the description. I'm going to leave in the link to these projects to easy to navigate and find the opportunity to read it straight away rather than looking on LinkedIn. Sometimes it's very difficult. Nowadays there's so many information. And I'm just want to say good luck with all your initiatives. It's really important. And as I mentioned, you have a really big heart of working on all of this. And what's the most important? Thank you for joining me today. It was a pleasure to speak with you. I'm learning a lot of the things. I start to listen during our conversation. I less and less trust people who are speaking right now. Uh, I hope none of them is try to abuse me. However, I really like your approach to say ask twice rather than straight away going to the lake and just swim.
Awesome. Really nice meeting you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say my favorite word, which I'm using on each podcast, which is cut.